An analysis of the poem The Tyger. William Blake was born in London on November the 28th, 1757. From young, Blake began experiencing visions in his mind. Once, when he was 4, he saw God's head appear in the window. When he was 9, Blake imagined a tree of angels in his backyard. His visions would have a lasting effect on the writing and arts that he came to produce. Facing years of poverty and illness, these visions increased and came to greatly influence Blake's works of art. William Blake was a nonconformist who associated with some of the leading radical thinkers of his day. In defiance of 18th century neoclassical conventions, he privileged imagination over the reason in the creation of both his poetry and images. Blake was misunderstood throughout much of his life and only found admirers late in his life, and has been vastly influential since his death in 1827. Today, he is regarded as a seminal figure of the Romantic Age. His writings have influenced countless writers and artists through the ages, and has been deemed both a major poet and an original thinker.
The Romantic movement, beginning in the 18th century and continuing into our own time, changes in society underlie the Romantic movement. It starts as a reaction against the intellectualism of the Enlightenment, against the rigidity of social structures, protecting privilege, and against the materialism of an age which, in the first stirring of the Industrial Revolution, already shown signs of making workers the slaves of machinery and creating squalid urban environments. Summary. The poem The Tyger is a series of questions asking about the creation of Tyger. From the start, the speaker persona asks what a divine being would have created the Tyger. The subsequent stanzas contain further questions about the Tyger. The speaker wonders what sort of supernatural forces could have created it and how he has the courage to continue his work. Followed by the third stanza. The superior creator is compared with the blacksmith. When the work was done, the speaker begins to ask, was the creator satisfied with his work, and was the same creator who created the lamps?
The theme of the poem is derived from specific imagery and symbols that Blake uses in the poem. Some important symbols are the animals. The lamb represents goodness and innocence, and broadly, this represents God. The emphasis on the degree of power and how terrifying the tiger is represents evil as well as the great and dangerous power of nature. Thus, the theme in this poem is the existence of evil in nature, as well as the great and deadly power of nature, which are ideas that the Romantics believe in. Evidently, in this poem, William Blake has managed to accurately represent the incomparable power of certain bodies in nature with the representation of the tiger. From the quote, "What immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry?" Blake realizes that God created everything on earth. However, he is surprised that God himself created such a savage, powerful, and terrifying tiger. He questions if it was not Satan, but God, who may have created the tiger. In this poem, Blake asks a vital question. Why does evil exist on earth when it has been created by God? By looking at the terrible ferocity and awesome symmetry of the tiger, the speaker persona is at a loss to explain how the same God who made the lamb could make the tiger. Hence, this also implies that humans are incapable of fully understanding the mind of God and the mystery of his handiwork.
The use of meter and rhyme. The poem is comprised of 6 quatrains in rhymed couplets. So now let's go through the entire poem again with the rhyming scheme. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? Here, bright and night forms AA, eye symmetry forms BB. In what distant deeps or skies burn the fire of thine eyes? On what wings thou he aspire? What hand thou seest the fire? Here, skies, eyes forms CC, aspire and fire forms DD. And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what jet hand and what jet feet? Art heart forms EE, beat feet forms FF. What a hammer, what a tread! In what furnace was thy brain? What a anvil, what dread grasp! There is deadly terror's clasp. So here chamberlain forms HGG, grasp class form HH. When the stars threw down their spears, and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? So spears, tears forms II, CD forms JJ. Tyger, Tyger, burning bright in the forest of the sky, what immortal hand or eye will frame thy fearful symmetry? The meter is cake tetrameter, which is regular and rhythmic. This means that each line has 4 EMs. An EM is a short unaccented syllable, followed by longer accented symbols, as shown on the screen. We have broken up each of the EMs and put the accented syllables in bold font. So the effect of the rhythm and rhyme is to create hammering beat, which suggests that the symmetry is the poem's central image. The simplicity of the neat proportions of the poem form perfectly suit its regular structure, in which a set of questions all contribute to an articulation of a single central idea. The first stanza and the last stanza of the poem is very similar, with the exception of only one word, there. So now we'll further analyze the poem line by line.
Now, let's analyze the first stanza. The literary devices used in the first 2 lines are repetition as well as metaphors. Repetition of the tiger, creates a chant-like mood throughout the poem, which contributes to the mysterious and terrifying tone of the poem. A metaphor is used in the following sentence: burning bright in the forest of the night. The phrase burning bright can symbolize the appearance of the tiger's orange fur as a bright color. But at a deeper level, the tiger is emitting some kind of aura or energy that it seems to possess. The phrase forest of the night increases the mystery and power of the creature as it roams around the forest. The feeling of fear also intensifies when amongst the darkness. At the same time, the tiger possesses and radiates a threatening inner force. Now moving on to lines 3 and 4. The central theme of the poem is introduced in these lines. Blake wonders what immortal being or force is able to contain or produce the tiger's sublime yet deadly form. The literary device of symbolism is also brought out. The immortal hand or eye, symbols of sight and creation, immediately conjure references to the creative God. The word frame shows that the boundaries are clear and the object isn't going anywhere. Fearful symmetry is a very nuanced quality to have. Fearful refers the scariness of the tiger but also alludes to the sublime. The sublime is the old notion of a really big and powerful mysterious stuff that terrifies us. Symmetry is a classical quality of the divine as well as a defining factor of artistic beauty.
In this stanza, the mood of the poem changes to become more disturbing. In the sentence, in what distant deeps or skies? Distant deeps refers to hell, a place of suffering where skies represent heaven. Black wonders where such a fearful creature like the tiger could have been made, in heaven or hell. Following that, the next sentence, burning the fire of thine eyes, uses imagery to add to the power and fearfulness of the creature. It is similar to the phrase burning bright in stanza 1. but this time, the degree of fear encapsulated in the tiger is much higher. In the last two lines of the stanza, the images of a supernatural power which is able to fly with the wings and seize the fire in tiger's eyes with bare hands are introduced. This heightens the mysteriousness of the creator of the tiger, who is depicted to be powerful and skillful.
In this stanza, the speaker persona questions who the creator of the tiger is. In the first line, "In what shoulder and what art," he asks what sort of strength and skill could the creator have possessed in order to create such a powerful and terrifying creature like the tiger. Even the choice of words in the following sentence, "could twist the sinews of thy heart," is rather sadistic and threatening, depicting how dangerous a creature the tiger is. The stanza then ends off by asking what being would have been able to continue to stand before it and shape it further, even after witnessing his own terrifying creation come alive. In the subsequent stanza, we can feel the pace is picking up, making the poem more intense. This is observed through the fact that the whole stanza is filled with questions and ends with an exclamation mark. What sort of tool could have fired into existence something as ferocious as the tiger? Blake wonders. Was the tiger a creature created by Satan in hell or by God in heaven? And what was the basis or reason for such a creation? He questions as he struggles to come to acceptance with the possibility that God himself could have deliberately created such an evil creature like the tiger.
So now, let's look at stanza 5. In line 70 to 80, the writer uses imagery to describe the scene when the creation of tiger is done. The imagery used here is very effective. The word "through" shows the projection of the star is very powerful. The spears, which are usually used as weapons, also implies the danger of it. So generally, the stars threw down their spears can refer to the casting down of the angels after Satan rebels against the God. While in line 18, the watered heaven can be seen as a sign of sorrow. And in line 19, the speaker continues to ask another question. Would the creator be satisfied to see such a fearsome work is done? And this may imply William Blake is also wondering how the God feel when such a evil is released to the earth. Furthermore, in line 20, a paradox appears. Did the God create both lamb and tiger? Here, contrasted with tiger, which represents fearsome evil, lamb is a symbol of innocence. So why did God create both evil and innocence? The question aroused by William Blake is also the confusion of many other critics. Is the God good or bad? However, the speaker never answered it. There's no answer to this question. It also shows the theme. Humans can never fully understand the mind of God, as well as the mystery of his handiwork.
Now let's look at the last stanza. Along with the rhyming and chant-like rhythm, the repetition is like a song's chorus, or the poem's chorus. The repetition is also a very clear device to get us to notice the one change that has been made to the stanza. Could switched to dare. In the first stanza, Blake asks, "Could frame thy fearful symmetry?" Meaning, is God actually capable of creating a creature so terrifying yet beautiful? But in the last line, Blake changes his question to ask, "Dare frame thy fearful symmetry?" Now, the question is not if God is powerful enough to create a creature like the tiger, but what God would even dare to create a creature so terrifying. Although they are different, and the tiger is said to possess traits of evil, God knew what he was doing, and therefore he made the tiger to be free.